Okay, up against Giganta the Wellspring, likely to be Grixis Shadow. I think I'll try this hand. I think there's a Through the Breach deck that could be competitive in Modern. Like maybe there, I don't know. Maybe. I think like traditional blue-red Through the Breach is not that good though. Okay, my opponent's on a Mold of 5, so now that they're on a Mold of 5, I think they're probably maybe Tron instead of Grixis Shadow, so I could just like Grief pitch Archon turn 1, excuse me, and then maybe take like Expedition Map if they are Tron. And they're on a Mold of 5, so the card disadvantage matters like a little bit less too. Okay. I mean, this Lightning Bolt is kind of blank. The Croaks is not that good either, though. I guess I'll take the Bolt. Maybe leveled myself a little bit. Nah, I think we did right with the right info. Yeah, we could have done take, kill Urborg, kill 2 of our own lands. I think that might have been fine, too. Definitely an interesting spot. No, we lost. We lost. It's a close game, though. It was indeed not always, not always like this. So, I'm just trying to think how afraid of... Okay, no, we don't need to be afraid of Drown and Lock at all. My opponent's just gonna concede for us, which is really nice. Usually against Grixis Shadow, I go -4 Grief, 1 Ephemerate, 4 Ending, 1 Teferi. Where it's not 100. Like sometimes they play like very little graveyard hate, and so like it's usually like Unlicensed Hearse or Nile Spellbomb. But I've also seen like Dothy Voidwalker, the sideboard, like once or twice, and Ending answers all of their graveyard hate and all of their creatures. And I think it's, and like what's nice about Ending against Grixis Shadow compared to Murktide, where I don't bring an Ending against Murktide, is like Ending doesn't miss any of their creatures. Where like Ending missing Murktide, I think, is like a huge problem in that matchup. Is a replay YouTube video of the Goryo version. I haven't played the Goryo's version on stream. I need to playtest it like a little bit more, but in my limited playtesting, I don't think it's as good. Yeah, this is my own brew, Kesto. I even like was like, you know, like one of the original brewers of the like original Solitude Grief Ephemerate version too. I think Skyclave Apparition is a good catch-all sideboard card. I think Skyclave Apparition is close to unplayable in Modern. It doesn't catch all. It's very slow. It's 3 mana. It's a card I liked a lot before Modern Horizons 2, and is a card I think does not line up well against the format anymore. Yeah, if a deck contains any card that has been used in another deck, it's not a brew. I forgot that I made that rule yesterday. Forgot I made that rule yesterday. Yeah, I mean the Goryo's version is cool. I put it together. I think that I've got like a good list of it, but maybe I'll just put it in the Stream Decker and you guys can play some. It's like one thing I really don't like it was less relevant before, but like the fact that you can't Grief, Solitude, so you can't Goryo's Vengeance, Solitude, and Grief is a big downside, where like now that you have Aethermage's Touch, like you're okay using your 2-mana Reanimation spell on your Incarnations, and you can't do that here. You don't get to play Mulldrifter. Mulldrifter is huge. Your curve is higher. It's just a bit more awkward. Gristlebrand is maybe more powerful than Archon, though. Jin-Gitaxias is like maybe about the same power level. It's interesting. Oh, I need to be playing a third Cottage in this list, though. This is maybe like an older draft, but I would definitely want to play third Cottage. I think I'm main phasing the Indulgence, like largely so they can't like spell pierce it, because I really need this to resolve. They're Thanks. All I have to say is yikes. Mountain Rider, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. Another yikes. Another yikes. Play it out, I guess. Mountain Rider, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. Alright, Ragavan exiling another land from me. Thank you, Ragavan. Very cool. I have game 3 on the play at least. Exile Delta, play Delta. Sees the bad news that my hand is Thoughtseize proof. Takes Unmarked Grave, which I'm not even sure is right. Maybe it is. Alright, we have a spell. Is there still aspiring Master Chef? She has finished. Yes, but she's kind of moving on to other shows at the moment. She started Hell's Kitchen. She didn't like it very much, but she's looking for another cooking show if anybody has recommendations. Modest, thank you for the raid. Hope you're having a good day today. Appreciate you. Could have played around Spell Pierce, but I don't think we're reading it anyways. Top Chef? Okay. Is Top Chef different from Master Chef? It probably is, because they have different names. Top is best, then Shop, then Master Chef. Okay. Worst Cooks in America. I would love that. I would love that. I'm personally like hella burned out. I enjoyed watching like the first like 2 seasons of Master Chef with Esther, but she definitely liked it like way more than I did. And she just finished season 7. She finished the David Williams season. I thought David did great. Thanks again, Modest. Would she be into YouTube chef content? Esther like basically never like goes to YouTube by herself, but she might. I don't know. I thought I like Stony versus them. I like Stony versus Murktide and like Ending versus Shadow usually. You can play Stony though. Like maybe one Stony over one Teferi is fine. David was so mad that season. I mean, he's very emotional. At least like my read on David that season is that he's like the only one that's like not acting for the camera, if that makes sense. He's just like the only one that's like showing any emotion at all that season. But and like, I don't know, like, you know, you can never really trust those shows either when they like just portray you one time the whole time. Top Chef is like actual chef's cooking. Yeah, I'll recommend that one to her. Oh, you're a Stony. Put into the mold of 6. Turn 1 monkey. Good thing we have a turn 1 ending. Good Stony Silence. Turn off the treasure tokens too, though. I feel like nobody takes Stony Silence. I don't know. I've seen a lot of disrespect for the card. Soul, 18 months. Thank you. But they might take it. They take the Tainted Indulgence, and then they pass. I don't think I'm supposed to play around Spell Pierce on Stony Silence. I'll just like trade it if they have it, and then it does not seem like they have it. And so now I do have a Aethermage's Touch to go with my Unmarked Grave as soon as I draw another land. So I'm gonna probably hold this, so this could be a Cottage if I draw, you know, Shock Land, Basic Swamp. And then let's go ahead and play the Unmarked Grave. I feel like this almost always resolves here. I wonder if we should do something like, I think the first Stony is actually better than the first Teferi, but I wonder if we should be doing something like, they have Turok. Ooh. No, Giganta in the hand. Not nearly as bad as Turok. But they are leaving up an untapped Watery Grave. But you can't spell pierce a Mulldrifter. My grandma always used to say, you can't spell pierce a Mulldrifter, Spike. And she was right. 1, 2, 8, 5, 0. So this is a draw 2, which is I think good here. And then I think my opponent has Spell Pierce, but I think them holding up Spell Pierce is like not going to be a problem, so I'll just main phase this. Okay, if they have it, they didn't use it. So if they do have another counterspell, I'd rather them counter an Indulgence than a Persist here. Is this a bluff? Okay, it doesn't matter if it's a bluff, I have 2 Persist, but in what world do you not Spell Pierce Tainted Indulgence there if you have it? Just a draw 2. With 2 Persist in my hand and an Aethermage's Touch, I'm definitely walking into it, but that would have been a funny bluff if it was a bluff. I think do I just Rites here? No, I think I'll Persist. So there's Jingantha and 2 mystery cards. I have the Unburial Rites, so I think I can pitch the Aethermage's Touch. The amount of card advantage in this deck is just crazy. I don't know if I've ever played a combo deck, or like a pure combo deck like this, that just has just this crazy amount of card advantage. Oh, if they have another Spell Pierce, they can actually Spell Pierce my Rites. That would be pretty gnarly. But we're still, I think, very ahead. Even if they find Delirium here. And it's just Giganta mystery card. That mystery card has to be exactly another Spell Pierce. They put a Dress down in the yard. Looks like they're debating on it, but they went to Delirium down to 11. It is not a Spell Pierce, and then we can Cottage something back next turn if my opponent does end up going to next turn. You can pay 2 for Pierce. No, Rites is 5 mana. We had 6 there. I guess I'll play a land to play around random Flusterstorm, but they usually play Pierce instead. Oh, the last card is just Giganta. Never mind. Sorry. Okay, we win. We win. I will say that, like, before this innovation with the Cottage Aethermage's Touch, Grixis Shadow was always one of the hardest matchups, and now I'm 3-0 against it. Just, like, Cottage specifically is so good against these counterspell decks where you just, like, in the mid-game, you just draw 2 for 1 every single turn. It's crazy. If I knew Solitude Ephemerate was really good, like if I knew we were playing against Hammer, I'd keep, but don't know that. I'm going to go to 5 here. Sam definitely has better 5s. This is a better 5, right? It would be better if this was a 6-card hand. Oh, hold on, sorry. Archon, Cottage. But this if I draw any land, then this is going to be a turn 4 Archon. Is Cottage better than Takenuma? It's a million times better than Takenuma. Especially when you're trying to combo with Aethermage's Touch, but also yes. Cottage is like, 0 mana and turns all of your fetch lands into utility lands, and Takenuma is 4 mana and is not a swamp for Cottage. Kind of say Idyllic Range is so bad. I don't know. Idyllic Range was like, part of a banned Pioneer deck. It's hard to call any card that was like in a deck that got banned bad. Is it Knight? What is this? It's like Gruul Prowess. It looks like Gruul Prowess. Maybe the Thrasta deck. Yeah, it looks like they are playing the Thrasta deck. Or something similar. It's cool to see people working on it. I keep meaning to... I want to play Underworld Breach instead of Thrasta, or like some number of Breach instead of Thrasta. Are the endings of the board mostly for Hammer? No. The endings are mostly for Rest in Peace. They come in against Hammer. But the endings like coming in against like Rest in Peace stacks, which is like really just blue-white control, but Hammer, Grixis Shadow, Sanctifier, and Vac. Alright, let's Grief Fetch Archon, and then hope to draw a land or Persist. Any land in the deck works. They are playing Thrusta. Why didn't they bobble? They didn't. Oh, they didn't bobble because of Thrusta. It's always like a delicate dance, but I mean, bobble is just like Delirium immediately. I guess I'm taking the gut shot. Probably dead. If Icarid were modern legal, I play in the deck. Is Icarid the 2-mana 1/3 discard a card? No, right? Oh, no, I would not play Icarid in this deck. That's very different style graveyard deck. Okay, so 3 plus 5 plus 1 is 9. Okay, I'll concede. I've played Prowess matchup a few times with this deck. I think it's fine. If they're playing my green-red list, they are playing Leyline of the Void on the board, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in these Teferis to hedge against that. Then I think these Griefs are not very good. So you can probably play like 3 endings too. Remember, when you cut the Griefs or you cut the Mulldrifters or the Solitudes, you usually would cut one Ephemerate too. We should be able to keep this hand. We'll see if they just like mulligan super aggressively for Leyline. Okay, they don't have a Leyline. Also, like, not clear if they're playing my exact 75, but I don't know how many Gruul Thrusta players there are out there, or if they like took the list and changed it. Not gonna Solitude right now. Okay, yeah, they're playing Tormod's Crypt over Leyline, so we'll be bringing in, I guess, Relic for game 3. Not like Teferi is just a super dead draw, I guess. Hoping they have more creatures, like the Solitude Ephemerate's gonna be backbreaking. Good. Now tap that mana. They do choose spell, and they get a Dragon Rage's Channeler. I think I'm going to go for the Solitude Ephemerate now, though. Just gain 7 effectively. Want to do a response to Prowess triggers? I guess I should have. I just like don't care about their life total at all. But I should have. Okay, Lava Dart into the yard. Some good value with Channeler. Naming non-land. They choose Soulscar Mage. Do they have a land to play? They do have a land to play. So if I attack with both, they flash back darts. Kind of not great. Let's see what we draw, I guess. Some good draws here. Not really that one so much. I guess it's actually that's actually not so bad because we can attack, and if they do go block Lava Dart, which I think they're pretty likely to, then we can Cottage it back, and if they don't, then that's fine. Like they just have to like contend with this 3/2 lifelinker. We're at 22. They have 3 cards in their hand. Very good draw from them. Lava Dart from the hands. I could also do something like... No, I definitely just need to like force the Relic pop with the fetch land. That's one of like the best parts of this deck, is that you could just go like sack a fetch land to make them sack the Tormod's Crypt in spots like this, and then all of a sudden cards like Tainted Indulgence and they graveyarded Manamorphose. But cards like Tainted Indulgence and Unmarked Grave are like really good top decks. And we still have like plenty of life points. I could also take a draw step, and then I could just play my Witch's Cottage for turn. And then if they sack the Crypt, I could just crack another Mire for another Cottage. I think that's okay. It's very close, I think. Don't like that draw, though. Wish I'd shuffled that away. But what's cool about this is, like, you know, maybe I get to just Cottage back the Solitude again down the line. Although I guess I'm not fetching. Sorry, not fetching. Yeah, I think they should have kept that Manamorphose on top too. So they're thinking about casting their last spell. So that spell's like Lava Dart or Gut Shot or something like that. This Solitude is not a secret, so I'm just gonna main phase it to stop, you know, them getting Prowess triggers on their turn or Surveil triggers. I think when they're like, you know, light on resources, the Surveil triggers are really relevant. Why not pop Crypt for my opponent? Well, if they pop the Crypt, I could just fetch another Cottage to put the Solitude on top anyways. If you thought that they wanted to pop the Crypt just to grow the guys, maybe that's fine. I know that they have a 1-mana way to trigger Prowess in the hand, or at least I suspect it, so I think I'm just not going to block. And not quite be dead to Lava Dart, right? Yeah, Lava Dart puts me to 1. Oh, they do have it. I forgot about the Dart in the Yard. Not sure if my line's any different, I guess. It's a good draw. Would it be better to hit Soul Scar since we can trade so they got a Dart? I don't know. I just feel like the Channeler matters so much in the spot for them. This is kind of huge, though. Okay, Harvest. They found a Lightning Bolt. GG? Is it GG? 4 damage and burn, plus 4 Prowess triggers is puts me to 2, right? But the mutagenic growth is GG. Alright, rough stuff. Rough stuff. Footfalls. I think that's like, I think, the direction that you have to go with this in order to make it good, or, you know, as good as it can be, rather. I don't think Inevitable Betrayal is as good as you want it to be. I don't think I'd play it. Surely your deck can't play Blood Moon, right? 4 Blood Moons at the side is nonsense, I think. Your mana base is like too stretched thin. Like you're a Grixis deck, splashing white. You can't play Blood Moon. Ragavan in the sideboard could be good. People will probably board out their removal against you. It's a good plan B. Flusterstorms are fine. Is Grixis Shadow no Giganta? Not sure. I think that's a lot of good directions for you to go in, though. Which matchup is Ashiok for? Titan and Graveyard decks in the mirror, mostly. Like, in the mirror, I'm going to go -1 Solitude, -1 Ashiok. I wanted it against Titan. I wanted it against... I bring it in against Living In, especially because, like, filling your own graveyard's really nice, but it's not like... The Living In matchup is pretty good, so... It's not like you really need it there, either. But maybe give up on the Resurgent Belief brew. I mean, like a lot of brews, I do well with it initially because it's an unknown quantity. I spend some time on stream playing it and writing about it, whatever. And ultimately, it ends up being just not that competitive, and I don't have any ideas on how to improve it, and I just move on. That's how a lot of brews, of course, end up. With Thrust, we play 2 Thrustas, 1 Breach. You think it's a distance splitter, go to 2 Breach, 1 Thrusta. I think 2 Breach, 1 Thrust is fine. I think you could also play 2/2. I was thinking about that recently. I think I'm just passing. If they just dash your Ragavan, I'd do stick 4, I think. Or the worst matchup. I think your worst matchup is Rhinos. Or their balance is really good against you, endurance is really good against you, force is really good against you, and they have a clock to like really pressure pressure you with all this 0-mana interaction. It's like Rhinos and Mono Green Tron are probably the two decks I want to see least. Awesome Vic, very cool. So I think we just Grief here, and then maybe Persist Grief, depending on what we see. We see Lightning Bolt, Bloodbraid Elf, Ragavan, Liliana of the Veil. I think I'm going to take Lightning Bolt to Ragavan. Can I explain the thought process of not Solitude and the Ragavan on their turn 2, untapping and casting Persist X on the DRC? Well, then I just have nothing, right? I just have like a freaking 2-1 Solitude, and I have no like top end. And like maybe I top deck out of it, but I also like just don't care that much about a dash Ragavan. Like they're spending 2 mana every turn to make a treasure token. They're not impacting the board super hard. I have very few cards in my deck that are like relevant for them to hit in these kind of spots. And I'm pretty interested in just like having my Aethermage's Touch in my hand still. And like being able to turn 4, maybe like Aethermage's Touch something back. Like this game, like my plan is like I sack the Grief this turn. I sack the Grief this turn, take 2. The next turn, they're going to start their turn by pressing Liliana. I can discard the Solitude and Aethermage's Touch and maybe hit Archon, but definitely hit Solitude. Lyrell, 4 months, appreciate ya. You can also draw Archon, discard Archon, Aethermage's Touch it. Ooh, that's a sick draw. We're getting a basic swamp with Delta. I'm not playing around Blood Moon, no. If that's what you're asking. I would never, in any game of Magic, ever play around a Blood Moon. Obviously would like to just spike an Archon here, but Solitude is fine too. Why not touch and damage them? Because they might play a Tarmogoyf post-combat, right? I would rather like exile a Goyf. I could just take 1, I think, without too much. Oh no, it was 1 card too deep. Too bad. Well, I think they very clearly don't have any removal. How do you have an Unholy Heat? They didn't cast it when I was tapped out. They didn't cast it now. What in the world? How is that in their hand? Into Tarmogoyf. Gross. I need a top deck. Yeah, I can Cottage back a Solitude, but too slow. They play around Ephemerate perfectly. I mean, they didn't play around it perfectly. They should have done it in their end step, but whatever. Brutal. I guess I get to yell though. I get to yell and get a Twitch clip. It's my favorite Twitch clip of all time. I really like the one where you guys tell me that I have the double Masters pack and the set symbol. That was a really fun moment. Yeah, now I just get to talk to all the mods and VIPs the rest of the stream. Congrats on Partner Digo. Yeah, that was a pretty good one. Spikelings, that one's my least favorite one. The one haunts my nights. Haunts my dreams. Can mulligan this, I think? It's close. We have 2 pairs. We don't have white mana. Good mulligan. Okay. 2 tap lands. I think the hand's fine, though. I think we either put back Ephemerate or Solitude, but I think on the Multi-6 on the play against John, you just put back the pitch card. Oh yeah, Harry's clip has got to be the best one. We definitely overplayed it, though. Definitely milked it. Channeler, turn 1. That's a pretty good top deck. gonna go ahead and kill the Channeler. It could be incorrect to kill Channeler here, because like if they have Unlicensed Hearse or Voidwalker, it's just so bad. But
what's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
like, my mana's accounted for next turn with like Indulgence. I wouldn't want to Persist. I think it'll just be okay. I would love for them to just tap out for Liliana and then not have a Endurance. Season Pyromancer's fine too. Discard 2 lands. Alright, so we're just dodging all Endurances here. Although we can go for, if we draw a land, we can try to Aethermage's Touch to play around Endurance a little. I guess I shouldn't have fetched. Seismic, 15 months, thank you. Yeah, so now I can just Cottage and not get got by Endurance, and I have the Ephemerate too, and I can do this end of turn. Or was I supposed to main phase? No, I guess if I main phase, I don't have like anything to Persist. We're full 2 months. Can we turn emote only mode off, please? if you want 2 months. I guess we have to have all these VIPs. Get something for being VIP. Well, we have successfully untapped with Ephemerate. They're down to 5 life. I don't think they'll have a removal spell in response. But I didn't think they'd have one last time either. But if they do, we can Persist. They discard Unholy Heat, but they don't have Delirium. I guess we can evoke Mulldrifter and just Cottage it back. Felix, 5 months, thank you. You can also draw Ephemerate here, just win. Okay, game 3. Hurt, 4 months. Got third RCQ with Reckless Rod, but I punted. Thanks for the content. Glad you liking the deck. A lot of people have been telling me they've been doing well at the RCQs with Rakdos. I don't know what my next paper RCQ is going to be, but I think I will probably try to play bands. I'm going to play the bands in the challenge tomorrow, or Saturday, so maybe I'll be singing a different tune. But I'm no longer playing my paper RCQ on Saturday because Esther has COVID or had COVID. She was sick for a few days. Her first COVID test came back negative. Her second one came back positive, but she's like mostly over it now. We're still trying to see how things hammer out. I think I keep this against John. I don't know. We'll try it. I'm really hoping I don't get it, because like usually when either Esther or I get sick, it's like either she gets sick first and then I'm sick for like a week, and then or vice versa. And so I'm really hoping that this time it's just her and we can move on. But so we're trying to stay clear of each other and wear masks around each other and sanitize shit. Did I get sick? No, I haven't had any symptoms yet. Me and Esther both had it like. I'm trying to remember when it was. I think it was like January of this year. And I don't know. I know numbers have been pretty bad lately. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be pretty tough for me to like not get it if I'm not just like very lucky or have some resistance built up from that. Do you have to show symptoms to take a rapid test? I mean, I guess I don't understand the question. That's the game in. Thank you for the 2-pack. That's for Deck Tech. You can post the link in the chat. I think I'm discarding the third Persist, I guess. Yeah, it can be like a little random for sure. Wait, so go for the cards with Riveteer's Charm. Ooh, okay, so yeah, we used to play this deck deck very similar to this back in the day when Lurrus was around. But now you're playing Stoneforge Mystic, Cauldron of Liliana of the Veil. Okay, so I'm of the opinion that Tidehole Sculler is like not quite modern playable, but you might have found an exception here, where this is a black-white deck looking to make your opponent discard and have a density of artifacts to make Urza Saga tokens not embarrassingly small. So I kind of like that. I would not play the 4th Inquisition. I think that 4 Inquisitions is a bit too much. I would play 3 though. I like the Feast and Famine. I think the Sword of Feast and Famine's nice here. Okay, we play around Endurance. I don't think we play around Endurance this game. Yeah, this is a cool list. I would play like 4th Liliana over 4th Inquisition pretty easily. I feel like the list looks pretty good. Or like at least, you know, for like black-white Saga rack looks pretty good. I don't think the Shambling Vent is a card I would play. I think you can afford to play maybe a Hive of the Eye Tyrant, but I don't think I want a tap land, especially when you already have like Urza Saga as utility land. You can play a Takenuma. Takenuma is kind of bad. I would probably recommend Hive of the Eye Tyrant, to be honest, if you're wanting like another utility land. But you could also, I think I don't know if you need 2 Fetid Heaths either, because you only have 1 Plains. I think you can play 1 Fetid Heath, 1 Hive, 1 fetch land, 1 like just black fetch land. 5 total fetch lands. Well, this looks very fun. Okay, so let's go Cottage, target Archon to play around Riveteer's Charm and or Endurance. They do have the Riveteer's Charm to exile my graveyard. And so now I have a decision to make. I think I just cast Tainted Indulgence looking for an Archon to persist. And if I miss, I can persist Mulldrifter. Now I've drawn Ending, so I can Ending this, and that's going to be pretty good to stay alive. Let me take a look at the sideboard for this black-white deck. I like the Voidwalkers on the side. Voidwalker could be Bane over Tidehole Sculler, but I think it'd be fine. Lion Sash I think is like sadly unplayable. I don't know what these dams are doing in the sideboard. Like I don't know what matchup you really want dam in. I think you can main deck it over like Portable Holes, or you can sideboard it, but I don't think you need to main deck it. I might like to see like some amount of Break the Ice in the sideboard, but you know, maybe Tron's not quite popular enough for that. Maybe it is. Tron is like has been very hot and cold, I feel, lately in Modern. Just kind of like here one day, gone the next. Might just have to. Ooh. Okay, yeah, I think this is a game where we're gonna be hopeful Aethermage is touching. We still have 1 more Cottage in the deck, so I think I play this one to take just as little damage as possible. And then if my opponent like kills my Mulldrifter, it may be better to just like try to save it with Ephemerate, maybe try to find Solitude. And if not, we just block, and then maybe we do block Ephemerate. Is that better? So I don't die to Lightning Bolt here. If they had a removal spell, I think they would have used it already. Okay. Awesome. Kind of famous last words, but Raven's Crime over 4th. Don't play Raven's Crime, just play 4th Liliana. You can't play Raven's Crime in your deck, I think, without like Red and 6 or Loam. Jund counters. And this one is the new Haste Dragon. So, okay, my unfortunate hot take is that the new Hollow 1 Haste Dragon is going to see 0 competitive play in any format. I don't think it's going to see play in Standard, Pioneer, Modern, Legacy. Okay, Aghanim's Awakening, Inquisition, taking my Ephemerate. I also feel like this deck looks to me, and I say this with peace and love and the goal of improvement, like not a Modern deck. And there already is a really good Hardened Scales deck in Modern that uses Arcbound Ravager, Walking Ballista, Hangerback Walker, to, I think, much better utilize. Wait, they griefed my grief, pitching Infernal Tutor? This looks like this looks like Bingu's Belcher deck with Diamond Lion. But like the Dragon's not modern playable. Swarm Shambler is not modern playable. Gala Greeters is not modern playable. Scavenging Ooze is very, very borderline. Probably like very, very fringe playable if at all. Druid's not good. Seruf's not good. Jugon Defense the Temple is not good. This is just like I say this as constructive criticism, but this looks to me like kind of like someone building their first modern deck, if that makes sense, is kind of my read. Which is fine. Everybody's got to build their first modern deck sometimes. But yeah, if you want to do that, if you want to play the new Dragon and the Hardened Scales deck, it was definitely way closer to Pioneer power level than anything. But also, like, Hardened Scales puts one counter on your Dragon. You know, this is not like a huge synergy payoff, whatever. This is not a big thing. Okay, let's check out their hand. Desperate Ritual, Ironcrag Feet. So their hand's all mana. What can they draw if I don't kill the lion right now? Not really anything, right? They can't play their Belcher. They just take the Ritual. I mean, I'm probably gonna Solitude this at some point. Oh, they could draw Infernal Tutor, right? Yeah, they could draw Infernal Tutor, I guess. I guess the Solitude's also not getting any better than this. Not for a smart deck, more scratching ahead, play second P2Q3 Yeah, I see. It's fine. I just, at the very least, like, you know, I don't think there's much more advice I can offer on that exact list than your worst Hardened Scales deck than the Hardened Scales Affinity variants, and I just don't see much reason to, like, you know, like half the cards in your deck are not modern power level, and I don't know how to go from there, but that is my my feedback. Right, so yeah, this is just lethal. So we're playing against Belcher. Very common modern interaction to bring in Stony Silence to stop Diamond Lion. Very likely to, maybe I don't cut all the Mulldrifters. Very likely to cut a lot of them here. I'm going to play the Teferi, the Terastodon. Ashiok turns off Infernal Tutor. Usually want Thoughtseize for these kinds of matchups too. Probably go down to like 2 Ephemerate. I gotta mulligan this one. Yeah, I will say that dragon, the counters dragon, looks like, I really like that card a lot. That card's awesome. I also really like Fleetwood Dancer. I think that card's like really cool. I think that there's like, I like that they're designing kind of evocative, simple, elegantly designed creatures, if that makes sense. I'm into it. I think the Shadow Skull Smashing here, right? But I also think, like, at least, like, from what I understand about Standard, it's, like, Standard is, like, just not that much about, like, slamming creatures into each other anymore. And a card like that, like, you know, I guess it's kind of hard to flicker your opponent's creatures, but I just feel like if you're spending, like, 4 and 5 mana on a spell in Modern, there's just, like, so much, like, crazy stuff that impacts the board really, really hard. Deck for K-Doors. Let me cast this Tainted Indulgence real quick. Guess I'm gonna pin the Grief, and then Persist it, and Ephemerate it. Just do everything to this Grief. 4 ice counters. That is an amazing username. Thank you for your subscription. I'm honored to have 4 ice counters here. Draw step Ephemerate. Did your Inquisition for turn. They can keep that, I think. Let's take... I think we'll take Infernal Tutor and then Goblin Charbelcher with the rebound. Okay, they shouldn't cast the Inquisition if I don't take it, though. They should know that if I'm not taking it, I don't have a target. Although I guess they may be thinking I'm leveling them by not taking it. So maybe casting it is good, actually, after all. Okay, 4 color, Creativity Teferi. This is too many creatures in the main deck. You don't need even if you're playing Yorion, I think 6 creatures is like one too many. The Sundering Titan is, I think, too cute, especially in a deck with 4 colors. I would just like sideboard the Sundering Titan if you really think it's good, but I would also probably just forego any copies of Sundering Titan and probably better for the most part. I do think playing an 80 card version of Creativity is interesting, where your mana base gets better at 80 cards, which makes it a lot smoother to play. Rid and 6 Teferi Time Raveler. Ooh, just hitting Archons in this matchup. Just naturally hitting the Archons is awesome. So I like that. Or at least I think it makes some sense. You have to play 4 Fable of the Mirror Breaker in my opinion. You should play 4 Fable of the Mirror Breaker in every single Creativity list you ever play. That card is just so stinking good. In the archetype. I know not everybody agrees, but I really think that it's in an 80 card in an 80 card version. I think it's hard to argue that you shouldn't be playing 4 of these. I think I'd also probably like to see like 4 Creativity, at least 3 Transmogrify, probably 4 Transmogrify. I think I'm gonna keep this on the draw. Definitely kind of risky. Lots of good top decks though. Have a Solitude to buy some time. Speaking of Amulet Titan, I've been beating up Amulet Titan a lot with the Bant deck. I can't remember how this matchup is. We do have an Ashiok on the sideboard. Finally get to bring that in. I mean, if you bring in 3 Force of Vigors, you have like 11 green cards post board, which is not ideal or anything, but I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world either. If there's a way you can figure out how to get it up to more green cards, great. But again, I do think it's not the worst strategy in the world to high roll in some situations. Okay, just gonna go to discard. Always way better in this matchup to have a Solitude plus white card in your hand when you go to Persist. Also, this is game 1, so I don't need to be too afraid of Graveyard Hate, although they just could have Natty Bajuka Bog. This is the new Titan list that runs Hydroid Crisis. Okay, how do we know that? This is just like that's what Neos does. Amy, thank you for the raid. Welcome to everybody from Amy's channel. We're about to put an Archon of Cruelty into play. Playing a very interesting Reanimator list with Witch's Cottage and Aethermage's Touch. Up against Amulet Titan. I don't know if those words translate very well, but that is what's happening. Canister is playing it all day, I see. So what's the idea behind Hydroid Crisis and Titan? Okay. I feel like casting Grief this turn's pretty good. Yeah, I can Grief Pitch Persist, and if I don't Solitude, I can Aethermage's Touch and Archon into play next turn. Their draws seem to be pretty bad. Okay, but the idea behind this deck is that you're a Reanimator deck using Unmarked Grave Persist to get back your Archon of Cruelty, but you can also have some redundancy in that effect by using Witch's Cottage to put a creature on top of your library, then casting Aethermage's Touch to put that creature into play. Hydroid Crisis is good against blue-red. Yeah. So my opponent's technically going to 1, but they are dead to my Aethermage's Touch. So usually you would do this in your instep or on your opponent's turn so you could attack with the Archon, but they're just dead to the trigger, so we'll just main phase it to you in the game. Game ends. We get the Thoughtseizes, the Ashioks, the Terastodon. I usually want to cut all the Griefs, 4th copy of Tainted Indulgence, or sorry, all the Mulldrifters, 4th copy of Tainted Indulgence, 4th copy of Ephemerate. Anytime I cut one of the Elementals, which is in a lot of matchups, I'll cut all the Elementals and then one Ephemerate, because I have less targets for Ephemerate. What's the best against Boomer Judge? Rhinos, Murktide, or Shadow? Rhinos almost definitely. We've been playing against a lot of Amulet Titan this week. This is the first time playing against it today. But like earlier this week with the Bant stack, there's just been tons and tons of Amulet Titan. So this is potentially a turn 4 Terastodon or Archon of Cruelty. On the draw against Amulet Titan, I think that's very, very likely to be too slow. We don't have a Thoughtseize, a Grief, a Solitude, anything. So I'm going to mulligan. And we can keep this hand. This hand does have Tainted Indulgence to bin, Terastodon. No Persist or Aethermage's touch yet, but we do have a Grief to maybe slow our opponent down if we draw a black card. To build a Grinding Beach with Shredder. I don't currently have a 75 I like too much now. Okay, I'm glad they're not going for Amulet off the Saga next turn. Just slower draw is exactly what we need to see. I'm trying to think if I want to... Ooh. Yeah, I think I am like pretty interested in potentially Evoking Grief this turn, so I'm gonna just main phase Tainted Indulgence, maybe find a different black card, and maybe pitch this Archon. Yeah, I think pitching the Archon is fine, because I have the Terastodon in the yard. Ugh, what an ugly hand. Cultivator Colossus, Primeval Titan, Turn Timber Symbiosis, Urza Saga, Dismember Dryad. I mean, actually just kind of easy endurance, right? I need to top deck Aethermage's Touch will persist soon. Why do they have Dismember in against me post board, actually? Doesn't make that much sense. Colossus, Dismember, Primeval Titan, Mystery card. Oh, I can also just play a Cottaging back Grief if I want to. So this turn, I have to take the Titan. The next turn I can Grief the Cultivator Colossus, and then they're left without a payoff for the time being. Oh yeah, it does hit Persisted Archon. That's right, that's right. That's fine then. So they did draw the land. Their hand is just a Cultivator Colossus and a Dismember. If they draw a land for Cultivator Colossus next turn, it doesn't really do very much, because they don't have any lands in their hand. I guess it's big. But I wonder, am I supposed to take Dismember if they don't Dismember the Grief? They'll probably just Dismember it. You want to go up to Fairies against Endurance decks? Usually, yeah. But I also have Grief and Thoughtseize in this matchup, which are both like good against Endurance. But at least in this deck, like you can't over sideboard. Ready for Thoughtseize as like extra hedges against Endurance, and then I think that like Teferi only being good against Endurance, while Thoughtseize is better against the rest of their draws, means you don't need it here. We can play 2 cards in Jund Saga sideboard devoted to beating Titan. Magus kills own Saga, that's okay. It is okay. I would just play Ashiok though. Ashiok Knight or Dreamrender. My opponent is a Titan top decker, and I will concede and go to game 3 on the play. I'm gonna draw Ashiok on the play this game. I deserve its spot in the sideboard. Is it me or Aethermage Touch have way too many hoops to jump through to get 1 Archon trigger? It does remain in play actually. It returns on your instep, not any instep. So you're gonna cast Aethermage's Touch on your opponent's turn or your instep. You get to untap with it, attack with it, and then you get to ephemerate it in a lot of situations because you've drawn a lot of cards off Archon. And even if you don't get to Ephemerate it, you get double Archon trigger plus the attack. That's like 12 damage, and 2 cards discarded, 2 cards drawn, 2 creatures sacked. This game is maybe kind of close between Unmarked Graving for Archon. I think on the play you just get Archon. I remember I was building my Seal deck that had Aethermage's Touch in it in my Double Masters deck recently. I think I'm just gonna persist here. If they have Grief, that's fine. I'll just hardcast. Or if they have Endurance, that's fine. I'll just hardcast Grief next turn. Or like maybe I'll draw something to like go Tainted Indulgence, Persist. They did have the Endurance, pitch and Cultivated Colossus. Could have also been interesting to do something like wait a turn and the next turn play Marsh Flats, persist target Archon. If they have Endurance, then I can go Cottage Archon back to top, Indulgence it back into the yard, second persist again. But that's maybe a little lost in the sauce. Yeah, here I think I'm just gonna hardcast a Grief. All right, easy decision on the Grief. If they attack with a construct, probably just block, so they have less creatures in play to sack the Archon. They get Amulet of Vigor. If they top deck the Titan, they can play it. I don't have a white card for my Solitude either, which stinks. My opponent they did top deck Titan last game. This time it's Summoner's Pact. So now if I could draw Unmarked Grave, I could maybe kill them with Terastodon, which would be fun. They would also be dead if I had a white card in my hand to Solitude the Primeval Titan. They would just die. No, they wouldn't die to the Pact Trigger. Sorry, never mind. It depends on how they fetch here, though. If they get, they could play around it by not getting Garrison Stronghold. Oh no, they just bounce the Stronghold. They still have mana to pay. But if we either draw Unmarked Grave for turn or find Terastodon in our top 3 cards, we kill them to their Summoner's Pact trigger. And if not, we can maybe just Solitude the Titan and be not bad. Gonna bounce the castle. They bounce the Boros Garrison. I would love to win to win with the Terastodon trigger. They transmute Teleria West. I guess they can maybe Summoner's Pact for Endurance, but they don't have another green card in their hand. Their hand is all lands, and then whatever they get here. Okay, there's a white card. Tainted Indulgence. I guess I'll go discard Thoughtseize, persist Grief, take Summoner's Pact, Solitude this Titan, have Aethermage's Touch that I may just have to get lucky with. Oh right, they have the Turn Timber Symbiosis. That's right. Well, I think we still take the Summoner's Pact, and then they do have to get lucky off Symbiosis when they cast it, but they can't cast it this turn because they have to pay for Pact. And then I can play Aethermage's Touch on like their draw step to maybe find a Grief, or I can wait because I can maybe find Solitude. I have equal numbers of I have one more Grief in the deck than Solitudes. But it's also better if I hit Archon. It's better if I hit Archon to wait. It's better if I hit Terastodon to do it early. Oh, but now they don't even have it. They're playing it out to protect it from discard, which is actually genius. Yeah, whatever we do, we're supposed to do the other one. I guess I could do this now. If I hit Terastodon, I get to blow up the Symbiosis. They just hit nothing. We hit Archon. Ooh, so we deny the second land drop, which is nice. Having Archon in play is good, too. I can now Unmarked Grave for Archon Rites if we want to, then cast it the next turn. They're also, not guaranteed to hit off Turn Timber Symbiosis. I can't remember how many cards it looks at. It's like 6, right? But also the Boros Garrison is in their hand, and they can't haste anything. Yeah, maybe they just hit an Endurance, which is just getting sacked through the Archon. Ooh, and then we drew Ephemerate, so let's go. So we get them to no cards in their hand, which is big. For life. Oh, I drew the rights. Okay, well I'll just go ahead and put an Archon and a Terastodon in the yard, and I can choose either one for next turn with the rights. Not that it's necessarily going to be that likely. They can't even haste the Titan anymore because the Garrison's gone, and we 4-1. That was a weird match against Titan. That whole match was really weird. We're 3-2, 3-2, 4-1 today. Totally fine record, but I really wish I could play both decks in the challenge this weekend, but I think I'm going to stick to the Bant deck for tomorrow, the Bant Company Time Warp deck.